Now, a former Welbeck College student is set to compete for Team GB at this year's London Paralympics. Had Pamela Relph's career continued as originally hoped, then she would be on the verge of commissioning from Sandhurst. But because of arthritis, her military ambitions were shattered. This weekend, she'll be rowing with Sir Stephen Redgrave and Matthew Pincent in the Thames Jubilee pageant. And she's been talking to Julian.
Being active is a priority for Pamela Relph. Young and fit, you'd be forgiven for thinking that she'd be competing in this summer's London Olympics and not Paralympics. But Relph suffers from debilitating arthritis, a condition that she concedes is not normally associated with people her age.
Most people associate arthritis with being, you know, like decrepit old people who've got like bones sticking out in weird directions and stuff. And luckily I don't have that yet, but definitely every single training session I can feel my condition limiting me in some way, so it's just basically improvise, adapt and overcome in order to... That's really sad, isn't it, that I brought in the Royal Engineers?
Gentle conversation reveals clues to this athlete's former military aspiration. Pam had originally embarked on a career in the army. Following her time at Welbeck College, she was in her last year of university, studying for a physics degree and was readying herself for Sandhurst and commissioning into the Royal Engineers. But her condition intervened and a life in the forces was curtailed.
With my condition, I always knew that I was going to struggle, and I always knew I was going to have to jump through hoops to try and get to where I wanted to be, and it just so happened that they made the executive decision that it was more of a damage control thing in long term, that having someone in the military possibly going on operations with arthritis was not a good, a good route to go down. And looking back now, I can totally understand, because there are things that I struggle with every single day which would be really damaging in a career in the military.
Locked out of army life, Relph's career quickly changed. A week after being dealt one bitter blow, she was invited to trial for the Great Britain Adaptive Rowing Squad and was an instant success. In 2011, as part of the mixed Cox 4, she was crowned a world champion. This year, the focus is the Paralympics and the odd bit of pageantry too.
Today's session out on the water is all about preparing for the Paralympic Games. But this Sunday, Pamela and her teammates will join up with two heavyweights of the sport, Sir Steve Redgrave and Sir Matthew Pincent, as they take part in the Queen's Jubilee Regatta on the River Thames.
The Paralympic 4 have been given the opportunity to go and row on the Gloriana, which is going to be the boat which leads the Queen's pageant parade down the Thames. 1,000 boats all following us, so I've got to set up a quite good rhythm, but luckily I'll have the legend of Sir Steve Redgrave to follow.
Relph, Redgrave and co will be joined on the Thames by the Road to Recovery team who conquered the Atlantic earlier this year. Julian Evans, Forces News, Caversham.